Hello and welcome to this edition of the Shurley English Workshop Series. I'm Jamie Geneva, the Senior National Consultant, and it's my pleasure to host this webinar featuring an introduction to English language arts skills, Shurley style. We'll begin with a big picture view of the curriculum. Shurley English has assembled a unique combination of features to help students build a solid literacy foundation. The curriculum has been organized logically, sequentially, and systematically for success so that abstract language arts concepts can become clear and logical. The concrete multisensory strategies that support all types of learners help students make the connection between grammar, skills, writing, speaking and listening, and reading. Today's presentation will cover the fourth unique feature, skills. I will introduce you to the techniques we use to teach students the skills they need to develop strong sentences, paragraphs, and essays. We will also examine the writing traits that good writers use to engage their readers. During today's webinar, we will use excerpts and examples from our latest edition, but rest assured that the information we are covering applies to every edition of Shurley English. Over the past 30 years, our look has changed, but our methodology remains the same. Language arts skills are woven throughout each feature of the curriculum to help students develop overall literacy in standard English. Our goal is to help students master English language arts skills. Skill lessons have been carefully developed to give students the knowledge, skills, and practice they need to build a strong English language arts foundation. Most skills are practiced in ways that are unique to Shurley English, so today's presentation should be helpful. Just know that everything in the curriculum has been designed to build students' competence and confidence when speaking or writing. The Shurley English Teacher's Manual will contain a step-by-step process for you to follow. I would like for you to keep in mind that the information we are about to cover is taught over an extended period of time based on grade level. Skills will spiral throughout the curriculum, so there's plenty of repetition and practice built in to enable your students to easily understand and apply English language arts concepts. But today, we are going to move at an extremely rapid pace. Let's begin with an effective strategy that provides an oral review of certain language arts skills after they have been taught. This type of skill builder establishes a routine check for these skills, and students learn to use the sentences they just classified to complete them. The first skill included during a skill builder is called a noun check. I'll show you how it works. To do a noun check, students will scan each sentence from left to right to identify the nouns in the sentence. They will learn to go to the noun job labels. When they come to one, they will say the noun job and then say the noun. If it is really a noun, they will learn to say, yes, it is a noun, and circle it. If there is a pronoun beneath the noun job label, students will learn to say, no, it is a pronoun, and move on to the next noun job label. After the nouns in the sentence have been circled, students will complete the next two steps at the same time. During Skill Builder number 2, students will identify the nouns as singular or plural by placing an S for singular or P for plural above them. During Skill Builder number 3, students will identify the nouns as common or proper by placing a C for common or a P for proper above them. The fourth skill builder requires students to identify the complete subject and the complete predicate of the sentence. Students will learn to underline the complete subject once and the complete predicate twice. Then they will move immediately to skill builder number 5. During this skill builder, students will be asked to identify the simple subject and the simple predicate by circling them. Let's take a look at an actual skill builder so you will know how to incorporate them effectively in a lesson. Remember, Before your students start a skill builder exercise, they have been taught each of these skills in depth. The skill builder is simply a quick oral review of skills. It goes like this. Let's do a noun check. Ready? Compound subject noun mom. Yes, it is a noun. Compound subject noun dad. Yes, it is a noun. Object of the preposition steps. Yes, it is a noun. Great job! Now let's identify each noun as singular or plural and common or proper. We will write S for singular or P for plural above each noun. Then we will write C for common or P for proper above each noun. Ready? Mom, singular or plural? Singular. Mom, common or proper? Proper. Dad, singular or plural? Singular. Dad, common or proper? Proper. Steps, singular or plural? Plural. Steps, common or proper? Common. Great job. Now let's identify the complete subject and the complete predicate by placing one line under the complete subject and 2 lines beneath the complete predicate. Ready? What is the complete subject? Mom and Dad. What is the complete predicate? Climb slowly up the steep steps. Good work. Now we will identify the simple subject and the simple predicate by circling them. What is the simple subject? Mom, Dad. What is the simple predicate? Climbed. Fantastic. Now that we have completed the noun check, let's take a look at Skill Builder number 6. During this step, students will learn a procedure to complete a vocabulary check. We know that vocabulary is essential to all areas of English language arts. So if we want our students to speak and write well, we have to help them develop a broad vocabulary. Shurley English offers a multisensory approach to build vocabulary and to improve diction and word choices. Vocabulary lessons will help students accomplish the important skills listed on this slide using a vocabulary check routine. Let me show you what it looks like. A new vocabulary word will be presented during the vocabulary check. The teacher will pronounce the word correctly for the students and then ask them to say it several times. Afterwards, students will read and discuss the word's definition, synonym, and antonym. When possible, the teacher will ask students to think of additional synonyms and antonyms. The next step in the vocabulary check routine will be to read and discuss the practice sentence using the vocabulary word. The teacher will often ask students to think of more sentences using the word. After all of the information has been discussed, students will be instructed to enter it into their vocabulary notebook or on a vocabulary card. They will also be asked to write a new sentence that includes the new word and draw a picture to go along with it. The next skill in the Skill Builder number 7, is called a verb chant. During this step, students will chant the principal parts of regular and irregular verbs they have learned during the skill lesson. The verb chant utilizes rhythm and repetition through oral and auditory channels to establish the forms of verbs in students' minds. Look at the verb chant for regular verbs as I recite the verb chant for the verb call for you. It sounds like this: call, called, has called, am calling. Now look at the verb chart for irregular verbs and listen as I recite the verb chant for the irregular verb become. It sounds like this: become, became, has become, am becoming. The final skill builder is Skill Builder number 8. During this step, students will recite the verb conjugation for regular and irregular verbs. I'll show you how it works. During an oral verb conjugation, students will recite the simple present, simple past, simple future, perfect present, perfect past, and perfect future forms of regular and irregular verbs. Look at the regular verb connect and listen as I conjugate this verb for you. Connect, connected, will connect, has connected, had connected, will have connected. Now listen as I conjugate the irregular verb do. It sounds like this: do, did, will do, has done, had done, will have done. Remember that certain skills are added to a skill builder after they've been taught during skill time. Skill builders are an effective strategy to increase retention and mastery of English language arts skills. Now let's turn our attention to writing and the traits of effective writing. These traits include ideas, organization, word choice, voice, sentence fluency, and conventions. Students learn to utilize these traits at the sentence level as they integrate grammar knowledge into the writing process. When they learn to master these skills, their writing will show it. The first effective trait of writing is ideas. A good writer learns to develop ideas about a topic in order to convey a clear message to their reader or listener. There are many ways to generate, record, and develop ideas in Shurley English, but I'd like to share a few of them with you now. First of all, students are encouraged to learn new vocabulary and analogies to help expand writing ideas. They are also provided with many opportunities to brainstorm a topic with a friend or in a group. Another effective strategy we use is to generate ideas using a pre-writing map. These graphic organizers help students categorize their ideas under specific topics. Let me show you how they work. This graphic organizer will help students generate ideas by filling in a pre-writing map about their topic. This is a pre-writing map for a 3-point expository paragraph. At the top of the map, students will write their topic. Then they will generate 3 points to share or tell about their topic. Beneath each point, students will come up with 2 or 3 supporting details for each main point. Pre-writing maps help students generate their ideas about their topic. This student decided to write about a special pet. The 3 main points that the student decided to share about the special pet included its fur, face, and personality. Then they provided several supporting details beneath each one. Shurley English provides pre-writing maps for all genres of writing to help students generate ideas. This is an example of a narrative writing graphic organizer. As you can see, students will write their topic in the center circle and fill in the story elements they will use to write their narrative in the spaces provided. Here's an example of a how-to essay pre-writing map. The topic is listed at the top. Then students will write their list of materials, the steps involved to accomplish their topic, and then the final results. We even provide a Venn diagram as a graphic organizer to help students generate ideas for a comparison and contrast essay. Graphic organizers actually help students transition from writing trait number 1, ideas, to writing trait number 2, organization. That's because graphic organizers are structured in an organized, logical way so students can easily use them to state the topic sentence and main points, provide supporting details, use transition words to connect sentences, and write a concluding sentence to sum up ideas. Let's go ahead and talk about writing trait number 2, organization. During this writing trait, good writers learn to reveal their ideas in a logical order with a beginning, middle, and end. Students will learn to follow an outline for a 3-point paragraph. The 3-point paragraph includes at least 9 sentences. Another key part of organization is the use of transition words, and Shurley English teaches students to use them early. They have to imagine writing as a road. When you write, you are paving a new road through a wilderness of thoughts and ideas. When people read what you have written, their minds are like cars on your road. Their thoughts follow the road you have laid for them. The writing road signs that keep your readers from getting lost or going off the road are called transition words. They tell your reader what is coming and how to react to it. Transition words give a smooth transition from one idea to the next idea. They tell you what to expect and how two ideas are related. Transition words are key to organization. Effective writing trait number 3 is word choice. Good writers learn to use the right word in the right place to convey meaning to their reader or listener. In Shurley English, we have ample opportunities for students to learn to use a dictionary and thesaurus to help them develop good word choices. We also help them learn to use interesting expressions and literary devices. Shurley English teaches power words so students can learn to show instead of tell by using the right word choice. Shurley English also teaches students very important word choice strategies. An effective strategy Shurley English uses to teach students to make good word choices is called power words. During the power words lesson, students will learn to search for words that show instead of tell. These are stronger words that have emphasis. Allow me to show you how a power words activity sounds. Set 1. Nouns. Drifter becomes hobo. Friend becomes buddy. Verbs. Cried becomes howled. Ran becomes scampered. Adjectives. Bad becomes terrible. Messy becomes cluttered. Adverbs. Very becomes incredibly. Angrily becomes bitterly. See what I mean? Another effective strategy we use in Shurley English is the use of word choice strategies. Students are taught to read sentences they have written critically to see if they can improve their word choices. They are taught to use these strategies to edit and revise. During this process, students may choose to make synonym changes, antonym changes, word changes. They might add a word or delete a word, or make no change at all. Word choice strategies help students learn to improve their sentences. The fourth writing trait focuses on voice. A good writer learns to use their own unique voice. How do they do it? Students learn to use appropriate words and phrases that reveal their style and personality. They use appropriate words and expressions to show their feelings about a topic. They also learn to make word choices that sound natural and not forced. Here's a sample lesson used to teach students to understand voice. The directions say that a scientist, a parent, and a second grader describe the same toy. We will read the descriptions and pay attention to voice and word choice. Then we will decide who wrote each description. Description 1. The toy is made of plastic and metal. It is durable and rolls quite well. It is a good representation of an emergency vehicle. Description 2. This fire truck has a high safety rating and is affordable. It is a toy that my child would enjoy. Description 3. It's a cool fire truck. It has a ladder and lights, and you can play fireman with it. When you listen for the words and phrases that reveal style, personality, and expressions, it's easy to decide who wrote each description. That's what voice is all about. Using words and phrases, style, personality, and expressions to let the reader know that you are the author. Now let's turn our attention to writing trait number 5, sentence fluency. Good writers learn to improve their readability by using strong sentence fluency skills. What does that mean? It means they learn to use simple, compound, and complex sentences in their writing. They also learn to incorporate natural and inverted word order sentences and use contrast, which means making some sentences long and some short. Good writers also learn to use different sentence patterns to increase their sentence fluency. Shurley English will introduce, reinforce, and help students master sentence structure using proven strategies. Students will learn to write simple, compound, complex, and compound-complex sentences with ease. Allow me to show you a few of our techniques. First of all, in order to understand sentence fluency, students must understand a few definitions. Clause is the first one. A clause is a group of words with a subject and a predicate. If you'll look at the example, you'll see what I mean. The cat walked into the house. Notice that we do not have a capital letter at the beginning or an end mark at the end. An independent clause has a subject, a predicate, it expresses a complete thought, and can stand alone as a sentence if it's punctuated correctly. Now let's define a dependent clause. A dependent clause is different from an independent clause because, yes, it has a subject and a predicate, but it does not express a complete thought, and it cannot stand alone. A dependent clause actually depends on an independent clause to be added to it in order for it to make sense. Look at the example. When the cat walked into the house. See what I mean? The dependent clause doesn't make sense. Now let's define a fragment. A fragment is a group of words that does not express a complete thought. It is labeled with a capital F. Here's an example. Several dolphins at the aquarium. Something's missing. Even though there's a period at the end, this sentence does not make sense because it's missing a predicate. Students know that a simple sentence contains a subject, verb, complete sense, a capital letter, and an end mark too. As they learn to increase sentence fluency, they will learn that a simple sentence may also have compound parts. Compound parts are usually joined by the conjunction and. The label C is used to identify compound parts when written in front of regular labels. The label CS stands for compound subject. CV stands for compound verb. The label SCS stands for simple sentence with a compound subject. And the label SCV stands for simple sentence with a compound verb. Shurley English teaches students to write simple sentences with compound parts by following a suggested sentence structure strategy indicated by the labels in parentheses. Let's take a look. First, let's read the sentences. The children went to the zoo. Their parents went to the zoo. Next, let's learn to read the sentence structure strategy provided to combine the sentences and increase sentence fluency. SCS means write a simple sentence with a compound subject. At this time, students will learn to circle the subject in each sentence. Name them for me, please. Children and parents. We can now teach the students to write one sentence that contains a compound subject by following the sentence structure strategy. We can take children and parents and combine them together using the conjunction and. The new sentence will say, the children and their parents went to the zoo. Now we have a good simple sentence with a compound subject. Students can also combine verbs. Look at the next examples. The movers packed the boxes. The movers loaded the truck. Since the subject is the same in both sentences, it makes sense to combine these sentences by making a simple sentence with a compound verb. What are the verbs in each sentence? Students will learn to circle them. Packed and loaded are the verbs. Now we can use the conjunction and to combine the two verbs to write the simple sentence with a compound verb. What will the sentence say? The movers packed the boxes and loaded the truck. Now we have a good simple sentence with a compound verb. Once a skill has been taught, it will be reviewed and tested in various ways. Here's an example. At the top of this assessment, students will read the sentence and identify it using the correct label. Look at number 1. Tasha is in the parade. Students will write an S in the blank because this sentence is a simple sentence. Now look at number 2. Tasha and Robin are in the parade. The word "and" lets us know that something in the sentence is compound. What kind of sentence is this? It's a simple sentence with a compound subject, so students will label it as SCS. Now look at number 3. The girls talked and giggled on the phone. Again, the conjunction "and" lets us know that something in the sentence is compound. What kind of sentence is this? The answer is simple sentence with a compound verb. Students will write SCV in the blank. Now look at the bottom of the assessment. Students are asked to combine the simple sentences following a suggested sentence structure strategy in parentheses. Look at number 1. I slipped into my robe. I reached for my flashlight. The suggested sentence structure strategy says to write a simple sentence with a compound verb. What is the verb in sentence 1? Slipped. What is the verb in sentence 2? Reached. Students will combine the verbs using the conjunction and rewrite the sentence correctly. Now the corrected sentence says, I slipped into my robe and reached for my flashlight. That's a great simple sentence with a compound verb. Now look at number 2. Mom worked in the yard today. Dad worked in the yard today. In order to combine these two sentences to write one simple sentence with compound parts, the suggested sentence structure strategy in parentheses says to write a simple sentence with a compound subject. Let's identify the subject in each sentence so that we can combine them correctly. Mom and Dad. Now our sentence will say, Mom and Dad worked in the yard today. We have a great simple sentence with a compound subject. Once students understand how to write good simple sentences and simple sentences with compound parts, they will be introduced to the compound sentence. A compound sentence is the result of two independent clauses being joined together. The abbreviation for a compound sentence is CD. There are 3 ways to write a compound sentence. You can take the two independent clauses and join them together, first of all, by using a coordinate conjunction. Students must learn that to join two independent clauses with a coordinate conjunction, a comma must be placed in front of the coordinate conjunction. The visual aid in the blue box visually illustrates how the compound sentence should be written. The first independent clause will be written at the beginning of the sentence, and it will be followed by a comma and a coordinate conjunction. Then the second independent clause will be written followed by an end mark. The second way to write a compound sentence is to take the two independent clauses and join them together using just a semicolon. The visual aid will help students see clearly how to combine the two clauses. Students will simply join the two clauses together using a semicolon. Then they will punctuate the new compound sentence with a punctuation mark. The third way to write a compound sentence is to join the two independent clauses using a connective adverb. To write this sentence correctly, students will learn to place a semicolon before the connective adverb and a comma after it. Take a look at the visual aid. Remember, the blank lines indicate where the independent clauses are located. Notice how the independent clauses are joined together with a semicolon, connective adverb, and a comma to write the new compound sentence. Here's how it works. Students will read the two clauses and then follow the sentence structure strategy to write a compound sentence using the coordinate conjunction but. CD stands for compound. The comma represents the comma that comes in front of a coordinate conjunction in a sentence. But is the appropriate coordinate conjunction to be used to combine these two sentences. Students will learn to join sentences with coordinate conjunctions for different purposes. Some coordinate conjunctions add information. Others, like but, show contrast or choice, while others show logic or result. When the two clauses are joined using this sentence structure strategy, the new compound sentence says they wanted a new house, comma, but they could not afford one, period. Now let's look at the second way to construct compound sentences. When two clauses are closely related, students can learn to join them using a semicolon to write a good compound sentence. Now let's read the sentence structure strategy in parentheses. It says, write a compound sentence using a semicolon. Students will begin by reading the two clauses. I bought a used car. It runs great. All they have to do is join the two clauses together using the semicolon and punctuating the sentence correctly. I bought a used car, semicolon. It runs great! Exclamation point. The third way to write a compound sentence is by using a connective adverb. Proper punctuation is required for this compound sentence, and students learn to place a semicolon before the connective adverb and a comma after it. Read the sentence and then read the suggested sentence structure strategy. I bought a used car. It runs great. Write a compound sentence using the connective adverb however. Notice that students will see that they need a semicolon before the connective adverb and a comma after it. Connective adverbs serve a purpose. Some add information, others show reason or result, and words like however show contrast or choice. Following the sentence structure strategies, the new compound sentence says, I bought a used car, semicolon, however, comma, it runs great. Students will learn to apply the information they've learned about writing compound sentences in exercises like this one. Let's take a quick look. The directions say, separate each complete thought. Follow the labels in parentheses to correct the run-on. My friend enjoyed the book. She didn't like the movie. I've separated each complete thought, so now we will follow the sentence structure strategies in the parentheses at the end of each sentence. Let's begin with the first one. My friend enjoyed the book. She didn't like the movie. Write a compound sentence using the coordinate conjunction but. My friend enjoyed the book, comma, but she didn't like the movie, period. Read the sentence structure strategy at the end of the second sentence and complete this one with me. It says, write a compound sentence using a semicolon. The answer is, my friend enjoyed the book, semicolon. She didn't like the movie, period. Now for the last one. Read the labels in parentheses and then let's correct the run-on. It says, write a compound sentence using the connective adverb however. We always have to remember the correct punctuation in these instances. The sentence should say, my friend enjoyed the book, semicolon, however, comma, she didn't like the movie. Now we are including compound sentences to the skills we've previously learned. Students will see exercises like this that will spiral through the curriculum from now on. The directions say to identify each type of sentence by writing the correct label in the blank. Number 1 says, my brother waxed his car, semicolon. It looks like a new car. We already know the answer because of the semicolon. What kind of sentence is this? It's a compound sentence. Number 2, the vine grew along the fence line of the farm. Students will write an S for simple sentence. Number 3, the mother bear and her cubs fished in the stream. The word "and" is a clue. What kind of sentence is this? It's a simple sentence with a compound subject. Now look at number 4. The factory closed at noon, comma, and the workers went home. When you have a comma conjunction, what kind of sentence do you have? It's a compound sentence, of course. Next, the little mouse ran and hid under the woodpile. This is an example of a simple sentence with a compound verb. Now look at number 6. Our dogs love bacon, comma, but they do not get it very often. Because there is a comma followed by a conjunction in this sentence, we know it's a compound sentence. Now students will combine two clauses to write a compound sentence following the sentence structure strategy in parentheses. Let's look at the first one and read the two clauses we will use to write the compound sentence according to the suggested strategy. Ready? My sister washed the car windows. My brother cleaned the tires. The sentence structure strategy says, say it with me, write a compound sentence using the conjunction "and." Students know that a comma must be placed in front of the coordinate conjunction, so the compound sentence should look like this. My sister washed the car windows, comma, and my brother cleaned the tires, period. Now look at number 2. Read it with me. I tasted the soup. I did not like it. Now read the sentence structure strategy with me, please. Ready? Write a compound sentence using the conjunction "but." After the compound sentence is written, it will look like this. I tasted the soup, comma, but I did not like it! Exclamation point. The third sentence structure taught in Shurley English is the complex sentence. A complex sentence is made by joining an independent clause and a dependent clause. The abbreviation students will learn for a complex sentence is CX. Students will learn that there are only two ways to write a complex sentence. First, you can begin the sentence with the dependent clause. Here's a visual aid that will help students write the sentence correctly. The visual aid illustrates the layout of the complex sentence beginning with a subordinate conjunction in front of the dependent clause, followed by a comma and the independent clause plus the end mark. Look at the note. Students need to be reminded that a comma must follow the dependent clause if it comes before the independent clause. The second way to write a complex sentence is to begin the sentence with the independent clause. Look at the visual aid. Students will write the independent clause first, then they will add the subordinate conjunction followed by the dependent clause. Let me show you how it works. A subordinate conjunction always introduces the dependent clause. A dependent clause cannot stand alone as a sentence. It must be combined with an independent clause. Take a look at some common subordinate conjunctions. The first way to write a complex sentence is to begin the sentence with the dependent clause. Look at the two clauses below. The lights went out. We used our flashlights. Now look at the sentence structure strategy we will use to write the two clauses as a complex sentence. It says, write a complex sentence using the subordinate conjunction after before the first clause. Notice that a comma has also been written in the sentence structure strategy as a reminder to include it after the dependent clause when the dependent clause comes first. The complex sentence we've written following the sentence structure strategy says, after the lights went out, comma, we used our flashlights. Notice the dependent clause is first. After the lights went out is a clause that cannot stand alone. It requires an independent clause to make complete sense. The second way to write a complex sentence is to begin the sentence with an independent clause. Look at the two clauses below. We ran to the window. We heard a loud noise. Now look at the sentence structure strategy we will use to write the two clauses as a complex sentence. It says, write a complex sentence using the subordinate conjunction when before the second clause. Notice that a punctuation mark is not included in the sentence structure strategy. That's because there's no punctuation required to join two clauses together when the independent clause comes first. Students will practice the skill of writing complex sentences in various ways. Here's an example of an assessment. The directions say to separate each complete thought and follow the labels in parentheses to write a complex sentence. Notice that I have placed a line between the two clauses we will combine. The sentence structure strategy says, write a complex sentence using the subordinate conjunction before the first clause. Of course, there's a comma to remind us to place a comma after the dependent clause. Our sentence now says, before the movie started, comma, I bought a box of popcorn, period. Look at the next two clauses we will combine. I bought a box of popcorn, the movie started. The sentence structure strategy says to write a complex sentence using the subordinate conjunction before the second clause. Notice there's no punctuation mark inside the sentence structure strategy. That's because when the subordinate conjunction is written before the second clause, there's no punctuation necessary to combine the sentences. The complex sentence should look like this. I bought a box of popcorn before the movie started, period. As sentence fluency skills increase, Shurley English continues to provide a review for all of them so students can keep their skills sharp. In Exercise 2, the directions say to identify each type of sentence by writing the correct label in the blank. The labels students have learned so far include fragment, simple sentence with a compound subject, simple sentence with a compound verb, compound sentence, and complex sentence. Look at number 1. My cousin honked and waved at the workers in the field. The word and is a clue that something in this sentence is compound. This is a simple sentence with a compound verb. Now look at number 2. Even though we hurried, comma, we were still late to the concert. The comma after the first clause is a very important clue. The first clause begins with a subordinate conjunction, so we know this is a complex sentence. Now look at number 3. Ron's sister lives in Russia, semicolon. Therefore, comma, he goes there for vacation. Notice the punctuation and the connective adverb used to join two clauses together. This is a compound sentence. Now look at number 4. I took a shower before I went to bed. The word before is a subordinate conjunction. Students will learn the list of subordinate conjunctions, so they will know easily that this is a complex sentence. Now for number 5. Since we finished our projects early, that doesn't make sense. Students will quickly recognize a fragment when they read one. Now look at Exercise 3. It says to use a slash to separate each clause. Then write complex sentences as indicated by the labels in parentheses. The first one says, the weather is stormy, a cold front is approaching. After separating the clauses, the students will write a complex sentence using the subordinate conjunction because before the second clause. It will say, the weather is stormy because a cold front is approaching, period. Now look at number 2. Dad did not feel well. He chopped wood for our fireplace. We will separate each clause and write a complex sentence using the subordinate conjunction although before the first clause. The complex sentence will look like this. Although Dad did not feel well, comma, He chopped wood for our fireplace. Period. Now look at number 3. My sister relaxed. She finished her job interviews. We will separate each clause and follow the sentence structure strategy that says, write a complex sentence using the subordinate conjunction after before the second clause. The complex sentence will look like this. My sister relaxed after she finished her job interviews. Period. As students master the art of combining simple, compound, and complex sentences, they also learn other sentence fluency techniques like creating mover and shaker sentences. Instead of writing sentences in natural word order, they will learn to shake them up and write inverted word order sentences to keep their writing interesting. Students will learn to think critically about the effects of word order. Look at the example. The original sentence says, the 2 young horses pranced eagerly nearby today. Students can rethink their word order to create interest and variety. They might even add additional words when they revise their sentence to write a mover and shaker sentence like this one. Prancing eagerly nearby today, the 2 young horses snorted. Shurley English teaches students another way to create sentence fluency is to use a variety of sentence patterns when writing. Students will learn all 7 sentence patterns in levels 1 through 8. Let's move on and talk about writing trait number 6, conventions. Students must learn to use conventions of standard English correctly. Without them, comprehension of their writing is almost impossible. They must learn and follow the rules of conventions, have patience to check for mistakes in capitalization, usage, punctuation, spelling, and grammar. They have to learn to read, and observe the way other writers use conventions. Then they can experiment with their own writing. Shurley English teaches students to learn the rules of capitalization by following a resource guide like this one. Students learn the rules and learn to apply them to their writing. They will develop an in-depth understanding of the rules through lots of practice throughout each level. The same techniques are used to teach students the punctuation rules. A list of capitalization and punctuation rules will be provided in the Resource Tools section in the back of the book for easy access. Another convention in standard English language is correct usage. Subject-verb agreement rules are taught thoroughly in Shurley English so that students learn to master correct usage. Usage rules refer to the parts of speech and how they combine together to form sentences. Students will learn the rules of correct usage and apply them in various ways throughout the curriculum during assessments. Another vital convention required to clearly communicate ideas when writing is spelling. Good writers learn to incorporate good spelling every time they create a piece of writing. Shurley English curriculum emphasizes good spelling habits throughout the curriculum in many ways. First of all, students will learn to pronounce words correctly every time they say them. Many words can be spelled correctly by simply pronouncing each individual sound carefully. A strong foundation in phonemic awareness and phonics is helpful. Next, students will learn to divide big words into bite-sized syllables. Syllabication is useful to help students recognize affixes and the rules that govern their use. Students will keep a list of words they frequently misspell in a spelling notebook and practice writing and saying the correct spellings of difficult words. Notebooks are an individualized way to store frequently used words. Word walls at any grade level make your whole class aware of terms. The most challenging words are homophones, words that sound the same but have different spellings and meanings. Keep a list of these words public for all students to see daily. We will teach students to read because reading will help them learn spelling without realizing it. It goes without saying that while wide reading does not guarantee good spelling, it's an important step to overall spelling literacy. Students will learn to edit their writing carefully for misspelled words and learn spelling rules to help them spell certain groups of words correctly. As we all know, 2 pairs of eyes are better than 1 pair. So, the curriculum incorporates the practice of peer-to-peer spelling checks, where study buddies get together and look at each other's written work and check for spelling errors. Another good spelling habit is to learn the spelling rules to help spell certain groups of words correctly. Some rules that help spellers are rules like we use EI after the letter C to make a long A sound and in a few exceptions. The rest of the time, use IE. Another one is change Y to I before adding a vowel suffix. One more. Keep the final Y on a word when adding the ing suffix. When in doubt, students will be taught to always check a dictionary for correct spelling. Rest assured that Shurley English has all the effective traits of writing covered. We use effective strategies and teaching techniques to ensure that students can incorporate them in their writing with competence and confidence. When students learn to master these skills, believe me, their writing will show it. Thank you for joining me for today's skill presentation. I hope you enjoyed learning more about how to implement Shurley English Skill Builders and the strategies we use to teach the effective traits of writing. These skills will provide your students with a solid English language arts skill foundation. I encourage you to visit our YouTube channel where we have numerous videos to help you as you start your language arts journey with Shurley English. For more information about our curriculum, please visit our website at www.shurley.com.